true crime with strategic eyes.
Strategic back again. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of True Crime Strategic Eyes. We have a really good show for you guys today. First, I want to let you guys know I have been away for a couple of days because it's been busy on the day job. So had a lot of things coming in, a lot of cases coming in. I had to give most of my attention to. That has cleared up just a bit. And so now we're here. All right. We got some really good information on this D4VD case. All right. My understanding is that Ashley Banfield, or, actually, we're going to be doing Nancy Grace a little bit later. Nancy Grace has an amazing show we're going to react to, but we're going to start with Ashley Banfield. And we spoke about this like maybe 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's been a while since we spoke about this, but I want to see what Ashley Banfield has to say about this. Now, all this material, we're going to be reacting to this real time. I have not watched any of these examples or these exhibits that the research crew has put forward for me to react to. So I don't know what they're going to say, but just reading the title here where it says, Hollywood Hills Horror, Disturbing New Clues in the D4VD Tesla Death Case, Celest Rivas. My understanding is that in this video, they're going to talk about that the family knew, and we spoke about that, but I could be wrong. We're going to react to this together, but we got a crazy show, so hang in there. It's going to be a little bit of a long show, but it's definitely a worthwhile show. So for everybody who's joined us today, we want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Make sure you hit that like button when you come into the building. The first thing you should do is hit that like button, support the channel, and then after that, please do comment in the comment section so we can get into the algorithm and the channel could grow. So far for the month of November, we have one monetized show. So YouTube is on their ish again. They're definitely all over the show, over moderating us, all that good stuff. So we need your help more than ever just by hitting that like button and supporting the channel. But we do have good news. The good news is I got my email from YouTube that invited me to order my 100,000 channel subscriber plaque. So that means they verified my numbers. There's no paid subscribers in it. We never have done that with True Crime Strategic. We've always been honest about building our audience organically. They verified me. They said, listen, you deserve it. Here's your plaque. And it's coming in the mail, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm so grateful. I'm happy about that. And yeah, let's jump into this. So let's start off with Ashley Banfield. We're going to finish the show with Nancy Grace. Let's do it.
In the case of the rising pop star and his dead underage girlfriend discovered in the trunk of his Tesla. You have probably seen the headlines about David, real name David Anthony Burke, the soft-spoken chart-topping singer whose abandoned Tesla contained the rotting remains of his underage girlfriend, Celest Rivas Hernandez, in Los Angeles. Neighbors had complained about the car for days, mostly because of the smell, a brutal smell. At first, they thought it might be a dead animal, but when the police finally had the car towed, the smell followed it all the way to the impound lot. And days later, workers there couldn't ignore it any longer, and they too called the police. This time, when the investigators popped the trunk, they realized what they were smelling wasn't an animal at all. Inside the Tesla was the decomposing body of the pop star's underage girlfriend. Very, very underage.
Yeah.
Celeste had just turned 15. In fact, her birthday was the day before she was found dead in that trunk. And since she'd been dead in that trunk for a long time, she died at 14. I think it's fair to say.
Right.
She hooked up with David, spelled with the number 4, years before even that, possibly when she was only 12. Ugh. David has never been charged, and he has never been named a suspect in any crime, right? Likely because investigators can't tell how or even when Celeste actually died. The autopsy was inconclusive, but the all-important toxicology report has yet to be released.
Right. And, we keep hearing this from like these mainstream shows. Big shout out to Ashley Banfield. You guys know I'm a big fan of Ashley Banfield and Nancy Grace. They keep saying the wrong age, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people in the chat will agree with me. It's even younger than that. It's younger than the age that Ashley quoted. I don't want to say it out my own lips because I don't want to help the algorithm punish me. But everybody on the internet who's following this indie, like in the trenches, like myself, we just here just trying to get information from everywhere we can. we're getting a lower number than that. But all the mainstream media folks, they're kind of sticking with the number that Ashley is saying. I want to know what that disconnect is, because it seems to me, in my opinion, that the evidence is very, very, very clear that it was younger. So I just want to know what that disconnect is. But somebody in the chat says they're sugarcoating. I hear you. I don't know that to be true. You could be right. I don't know it to be true, but I'm trying to understand why are we getting a different number when the evidence is so profoundly clear? Like, even if you don't want to believe that they were in a relationship, I think it's safe to say that they actually knew each other at a much younger age. Well, let's keep going.
Presumably because it hasn't yet been finished. But there is reason to believe that it could be finished at any moment. And that report could answer a trunkload of questions. In the meantime, we've got a Build-A-Bear clue. Yeah, you heard me right. I said Build-A-Bear. There was something found inside David's Hollywood Hills mansion. And stay with me on this one because it's quite a story. But first, a quick thank you from both Atlas and me for supporting my channel. And thank you to my injury for more than
fast forward a little bit. Fast forward.
A certificate turned up inside David's former mansion.
Right.
You know, the place where he lived up until a week
ago. So I skipped it because I was trying to get past that commercial because it's not my commercial, so I'm not going to play it. You got to go to Ashley Banfield's channel and watch her show in its entirety. But that was a Build-A-Bear certificate. You guys know when you go to Build-A-Bear, the company, they give you a certificate for your bear. Like, this is a personalized bear that you built. Personalized bear. So that's what she's talking about when she says the certificate. This was found inside of the mansion. Let's keep going.
So after the LAPD raided it, he moved out shortly after the raid. But clearly he did not take everything with him, like the Build-A-Bear certificate. What's important is what's at the bottom. Take a look closely. You can see the name Esmeralda.
This is why they wanted me to watch this. In the background while we're watching this, reacting to this live, I'm like, I want to watch I love Ashley Banfield, but I want to watch Nancy Grace. I want to react to Nancy Grace. So let me drink something. Hold on. So I'm sitting there like chatting with Aki. I'm like, yo, what are we watching Ashley Banfield for? What is she going to tell us that we don't already know? And she's like, Esmeralda. As soon as she said Esmeralda in the chat that you can't see, obviously, Ashley Banfield says Esmeralda. And I'm going to let you know why it's so important, because I'm not going to rag on Esmeralda. Esmeralda was a young girl at that time. She was like 17, 18 years old. My understanding, she went to Yale University. She made it. She grew up in a poor community. She made it. She's in Yale. Big shout out to her. But let me let her finish her sentence. We're going to talk about why it's important that this Build-A-Bear certificate was found in D4VD's house with Esmeralda's name in it, why that matters something to me.
Celeste, the dead girl, had a cousin named Esmeralda. There was also a cousin named Esmeralda who launched a GoFundMe for the family after Celeste's death. Are they the same? Dunno. But there's a lot of coincidences in this story. Mm-hmm. The certificate, the Build-A-Bear certificate, is dated April 21st, 2024. And that matters why? Because it's 16 days after Celeste's family reported her missing for the final time.
Right. And we covered this already, but I didn't have the Build-A-Bear portion. What I had was the photos of Esmeralda, D4VD, and Celeste at an amusement park. They were at an amusement park. So we talked about this already. When I told you guys that the family knew, when we did our show talking about the family knowing, this was part of the evidence I showed. And why were they at the amusement park? Were they celebrating a record release for D4VD? No. Were they celebrating a birthday for Celeste? No. Allegations and rumors is that they were celebrating the graduation, the pending graduation of Esmeralda. Let's keep going.
We know that she ran away from home, ran away at least twice in the months before that. But also on April 21st, David was spotted on TikTok riding a roller coaster at the very same Six Flags park where his girlfriend's cousin built a bear.
Right.
And we know she built the bear there because there's a Build-A-Bear at that Six Flags.
All right, I'm going to stop this here, and I'm going to let you guys go and watch this for yourself. The reason why we're not going to be going through the entire Ashley Banfield is because Nancy Grace, who I'm told is going to be ripping a hole in the FS Investigates. I don't know, maybe they're exaggerating. That's 51 minutes. We got a long show ahead. But I want to leave this with you. I want to leave this with you with the information that we've gotten in this show and we're using our investigative brains to kind of figure this out. I'm going to leave this with you. I'm going to put it at your doorstep, and it's up to you to open the door, bring this knowledge in, and make sense of it for yourself. Celeste, Esmeralda, D4VD are at the amusement park after Celeste was reported missing. Celeste was reported missing. Why would the family report her missing if they knew where she was? I told you guys the family knew exactly where this girl was at all times. Why would the family report her missing if they knew where she was? And why would they act like they did not know where she was if she turned up deceased? You guys want me to just tell you what I'm thinking? Or are you guys going to guess? I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. If she's not going to school and she's missing, the family takes no flack for that. You understand? Like if your daughter is not going to school and she's just home, then you get in trouble with Child Protective Services. You are a bad parent. You're a negligent parent. You could face civil and criminal consequences for not getting your child into school. If your child, on the other hand, is missing, then Child Protective Services is not involved. If your child's not going to school, your child is delinquent, your child is bad, Child Protective Services gets involved. They want to examine your house. They want to question your other kids. They might take your children away. All kinds of stuff is happening. Law enforcement is involved as well. All kinds of stuff is happening. But if your child is missing, none of that happens because the child is not home and it's not your fault. You don't know where they are. You're looking for the child. So if you have an arrangement, this is just my opinion, guys. If you have an arrangement with somebody who has a lot of wealth, like D4VD, and they're taking care of you, mommy and daddy, right? In exchange for your daughter. You don't want nobody asking questions. You don't want nobody visiting the home and knocking on the door. You know how many times law enforcement probably went to their house to ask questions about Celeste? Probably zero. They probably went to the house for other law enforcement reasons, but they're not going to the house to ask for Celeste. Celeste is missing. If Celeste turns up at the house, you expect the family to call you and say, hey, Celeste is here. You know how many times Child Protective Services probably went to that house looking for Celeste? Probably zero. Why? Because there's no reports of her being neglected or abused. The report is a missing child. So that's law enforcement job to go look for her, not Child Protective Services. Reporting her missing, to me, in my opinion, without no evidence, just my opinion, was a ruse. It was a ruse to get Child Protective Services off of their back. Big shout out to Mindful Madeline with a $20 super chat. Says, thanks for being you. Appreciate you. Thanks for supporting the channel. Let's give her a hooray, man. That's so kind and generous. Reporting Celeste missing was a ruse. It was a ruse because it got the authorities off of their backs. It got the authorities off their backs. It allowed D4VD to have his girlfriend, allegedly, in my opinion. And then it allowed the parents to be compensated, allegedly, in my opinion, with whatever arrangement they came to with D4VD. Ladies and gentlemen, from all the information that we've seen so far, in my opinion, you know, we got to say that. We're saying that for a reason. The only time I heard of D4VD not picking Celeste up in front of her house was when that liquor store caught her walking and going missing the first time in February of 2020, what, 5 or 2024? 24. All over the internet. So you take it with a grain of salt. It's internet rumors. A lot of it, though, seems very credible to me, at least. Says that he would just roll up right in front of the house and pick her up in front of her house to take her on dates. There was no hiding their relationship. Parents knew, the siblings knew, the cousins knew, the classmates knew. He was paying off the classmates not to talk about the relationship so he wouldn't get in trouble. His chat was saying he was on Epstein's list because right next to him was a underage girl that was his girlfriend, allegedly, in my opinion. Everybody knew. But nobody cared until poor little Celeste turned up dead. Let's go to the next exhibit, and then we're going to get to Ashley Banfield. Let's keep going.
The news clips and interviews.
Big shout out to Matt Thibodeau. We be showing his show all the time. I said we be talking like I'm from Harlem. I am from Harlem, but we often showcase his show on this channel because he's very informative, and we got mad love for Matt Thibodeau, even though sometimes I crack joke on him and call him a little boy. But he's a really, really good YouTuber. TikToker. And he gets good information, and I like the way that he presents his information. So let's see what he has for us.
Views on the David and Celest Rivas Hernandez case. And I honestly think that it's starting to appear that there is evidence suggesting that David is not the one who actually parked the Tesla in its final spot before being towed with Celeste's body inside. So according to this PI, who is now hired and working for the homeowner of the residence that David was staying at in the Hollywood Hills, he says that he has obtained video footage of David's Tesla being moved from that mansion that he was staying at to the spot where it was ultimately abandoned.
All right, so we covered this one. I think this one was added erroneously. This is just basically going to talk about the fact that SF Investigates claims that he has information of the Tesla being moved. So we're going to get that out of there because I don't feel like we need to repeat that. And we're going to go to Nancy Grace. Now, this was posted 4 hours ago. Big shout out to Nancy Grace. We're big fans of Nancy Grace. We've been watching Nancy Grace since we were little kids, and she's still at it. I'm new to the zone. I'm new to true crime. She's still at it, and so we got big shout out and big love to Nancy Grace. Let's see what she does with this. Let's do it.
Breaking news tonight: a D4VD David Burke defense bombshell. Teen girl Celeste wasn't killed by anyone? Then how does she end up dead and dismembered in D4VD Burke's Tesla? How does that happen? Am I hearing now that no one will be held accountable for this little girl's death and dismemberment, much less leaving her out in the hot weather in a car trunk to rot? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
All right, before Nancy jumps in, we got to show mad love on our channel. Warlike Fighter with a $10 super chat says, prayers constantly on this case for Celeste and her justice. How long will it take to unfold this case? Strategic. The work you do on media and in your personal life takes grit. Thank you. Thank you so much, Warlike Fighter, for joining us, supporting us, and believing in our mission. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. You are appreciated.
A dead body in your trunk can really hurt your reputation. Did he ever report his Tesla missing?
Absolutely not.
Okay, did he ever report Celeste missing?
Absolutely not.
Is this real? Has this enormous gift to the defense just dropped into their lap? It all goes to a myriad of pill bottles found in D4VD, aka David Anthony Burke.
I mean, what type of pill bottles we talking about here? What's in there? I mean, we got cocaine, we got some Viagra, what we got going on here? It's Tylenol, it could be anything. But before we get back in this, hit that like button. We have 230 people watching this live stream right now. Only 120 likes. Y'all could do better than that. Help me out. Help a brother out.
A myriad of pill bottles belonging here to a myriad of people that were living there in and out and in and out. Based on those pill bottles and so far a lack of a COD, cause of death, does this mean no one will answer up for a dead teen girl decomposing in a hot car trunk? Listen.
You know, it's becoming, let me just tell you guys this from a law enforcement perspective, okay? The fact that he is not in handcuffs every single day, I'm not going to lie to you, every single day I'm starting to believe that he did not do it. And one reason why I believe he may not have taken her life is because I think he has a rock solid alibi. That's why he's not in handcuffs right now. I think he has a rock solid alibi. I think that the police have zeroed in on their cause of death and their time of death, rather. Maybe not their cause of death, but their time of death. And I think that it's not jiving with where he was at that time. Or they're not sure about the cause of death, but he still has a lot of different places that he could have possibly have been, and he actually was verified to be in and around the time that she may have been deceased. It's starting to look like maybe this was an accidental death. And a bunch of knuckleheads, possibly D4VD, possibly part of his entourage, instead of calling 911, they just decided to put her in the frunk. And some people say, well, why would they do that? Well, I wouldn't be employed if people didn't do stupid and irrational things. I wouldn't be employed if people didn't do stupid and irrational things. I just don't see the motive to end Celeste. Understand, Celeste we got to understand human nature and the power imbalance that existed between D4VD and Celeste. Not only was he older than her and more mature than her, but he had vastly more resources beyond her wildest dreams. He also had social status. He had social capital, which is what people her age desires. Celeste would have been on her best behavior in the presence of D4VD. She would be in please mode, meaning that she would model her actions, her deeds, her personality to please D4VD. I don't see them having arguments. I don't see them having fights. I don't see her saying no to anything that he wanted. Simply because she wanted to maintain that lifestyle and to be around somebody that she most likely didn't just like, but also idolize. Because I truly believe their relationship started out with her just being a fan. So I think one of the reasons why it's starting to take so long to get to finality in this case is because they don't got the goods, because this guy might have a rock solid alibi. Let's keep going.
Bottles of prescription pain medication and drug paraphernalia are recovered inside the home, not by LAPD, but by Steve Fisher. The LAPD did not publicly disclose finding prescription drugs or drug paraphernalia. Other people were staying there as well, men and women. Their personal belongings in guest bedrooms, bathroom cabinets, and bedside tables. A neighbor reported seeing Celeste sitting on the curb in front of the house as if she was waiting for someone to let her inside.
What does it all mean? We know, based on neighbor accounts and more, that Celeste was living in the home of David Anthony Burke, aka D4VD. He says, David, straight out to special guest Steve Fisher joining us, missing persons private investigator, search and rescue specialist, owner of Search Investigation, who is hired by the owner of Burke's mansion. Now, I want to get to the fact that there is no COD right now. In my experience, a toxicology report, a screening would have come back by now, which leaves me concerned, Steve Fisher, that we're not going to get an accurate toxicology report. Why? Because she basically baked and melted in that Tesla trunk. Tell me about the pill bottles, the numerous pill bottles scattering D4VD's mansion.
When they moved out of the house, they took what they took. They left the rest behind, and we found opiate prescription medications. Now, I can't say that they weren't taking these as prescribed, but there was, several bottles of them in the house, and there's other, paraphernalia that can be used for recreational drugs.
Okay, stop right there, Steve. Okay, you're on Crime Stories. There's no wiggle room. When you say drug paraphernalia, what do you mean? Please be specific.
There was items that can be used for like vaping, not just like tobacco, but also other items. There was many of them, and then also smoking pipes.
And don't worry, Steve, I understand you're not saying that's what the drug paraphernalia was used for. I simply asked you, let me rephrase it for you, what you found. I'm not asking you who it belonged to, who used it, or how it was used. So, 1, 2, 3. What did you find, Steve Fisher, in D4VD, David Anthony Burke's rented mansion, specifically?
So there was opiate prescription medication. There was a few bottles of that. And then there was paraphernalia that you can use to smoke different types of drugs,
but when we talk about opiate, like, what are we talking about? Because, technically, if you got oxycodone in there, or codeine, I don't know how to say it. I don't take that stuff. One time I had them remove like a nail on my big toe many, many, many years ago. And they gave me some of the oxycodone, this stuff. And I took it. And I was like, oh, hell no. Where we at?
Oh, my God.
No, that's not it. Here we go.
Oh, hell no.
That thing had me feeling so crazy. I went right back to the doctor. I said, Doc, give me some ibuprofen. And they just gave me a high dose of ibuprofen. I never took that again. I had like 4 pills in a bottle left in my medicine cabinet until it expired. It was like, then after it was expired, I just threw it away. I'm like, you don't take stuff like this. That stuff changes you. And this is why people get addicted to it. But it could be that stuff. Like, I want to know, what are the opiates? Because if it's some hard, crazy stuff that you got when you're like a paraplegic and they're trying to ease the pain and none of these people are paraplegics, okay, I get that. But if it's like the low-level oxy stuff, then, maybe somebody, just like I did, dinged their toe or something. They had a toothache. I'd really like to get some details. But anyway, let's keep going.
It's not for, one type. It's something you find in a smoke shop,
Okay. Opiates can mean any number of things. Dr. Kendall Crowns is joining us, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County. That's Fort Worth. He is an esteemed lecturer at the Burnett School of Medicine at TCU, and he's a star of a hit podcast, Mayhem in the Morgue. Dr. Crowns, please, simply put, when I'm hearing opiates are found in the home, what could that consist of? What is an opiate?
An opiate is a classification of drugs that are like painkillers. It can be heroin, morphine, fentanyl, hydrocodone, oxycodone, and anything in those kind of categories. So opiates is a broad term.
See what I'm saying? I just said that. I've never seen this before. You guys know that. We reacting to this real time. Like, it's too broad. This is listen, I'm not ragging on this guy, man, because it's a fine line between critiquing, reacting, and being mean to somebody. I don't want to be mean to this dude. I don't want to be mean to him. All right. I just don't like his style a little bit. he's overly vague for no reason. All right, now Aki's going to be pissed off because, you know, we're supposed to be neutral on YouTube. You don't ever want to call nobody out. And I don't really know if I want that kind of show. I just want a show where I can say whatever I want, and I'm just what I'm going to do. You know, and if somebody get mad, I'll apologize. Like, if he hit me up, like, I don't appreciate you saying, I'll come on the show, say, man, he hit me up, and I'm sorry. I apologize. I didn't mean to hurt nobody's feelings. But his style is not for me. All right, he's too vague, and it seems like he's playing stuff out for dramatic effect. And I mean, we're all YouTubers. At the end of the day, we all play the game for dramatic effect. You know, when I do this,
Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm adding comic relief, and you know, I'm doing my thing too. I'm no better than anybody else, but I just feel like, all right, you get a question, answer the damn question, and it always seems like he's just talking in a freaking circle, man, and it just gets on my nerves, but it's okay. We do appreciate the hard work that he's doing, because it seems like he's doing more than what the cops are doing, and he's giving us more information than what the LAPD is doing. But let's keep going.
That you can then take that generalized term and break it down into these other more specific findings like fentanyl or heroin by doing toxicologic testing.
Okay, so opiates found in the home, and when Steve Fisher goes out of his way to say that they were prescriptioned, that's good, because we're going to have names on those pill bottles. Steve Fisher, without divulging names, were there names on the pill bottles of opiates?
They were, and they were hydrocodone. They were Lortab, generic Lortab opiates, painkillers.
Okay, now for some reason, you've loosened up and you're telling me what you found.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what took us so long to hear that? Like, if you found these things on your own, you could say this. Like, you're not hiding, you're not benefiting law enforcement. You know, you're not hurting law enforcement. If you found these things on your own, you could say it. You don't have to be so cryptic all the time. And you know what else he can say, guys? If it's D4VDs, he could say that. And if he doesn't want to say that, he could also tell us, definitely, if it's not D4VD, he can say, listen, we found these pill bottles. I could say that none of them were in the name of D4VD. That's not hurting or helping the criminal investigation that's ongoing, you know, but let's keep going.
Lortab and Oxy. Okay. To Dr. Kendall Crowns, isn't it true that typically you can get opiates by prescription, or you can just get them on the street?
Yes, you can get them either way. Prescription or purchasing them off the street is a fine way of getting them. Usually prescription medications are fairly easily to get a hold of from doctors and pain management doctors especially.
To Luke Kenton joining us, senior investigative reporter with Daily Mail. Luke Kenton, thank you for being with us. You see where I'm going with this, right, Luke?
For Lortab, because I didn't know what that was, because I don't mess with that stuff. Basically, it's Tylenol and hydrocodone. So it's a narcotic, but it's a combination of like Tylenol and this opiate. So just, if you didn't know, now you know. Let's keep going.
If there were multiple pill bottles of opiates, and, you know, from what I've seen, and it hasn't all made it into mainstream media, there were a lot of people in and out, a core group living there, but a lot of people in and out of Burke's home. There were a lot of pill bottles reportedly in Burke's home. Where I'm going with this is, if we don't get a COD, cause of death, if she's too decomposed to get a good toxicology screen, the argument is going to be, Luke Kenton, oh, she voluntarily, all on her own, just gobbled down a bunch of opiates and she died.
Right.
That's how she died, everybody. We had nothing to do with it. And then out of fear, we hid her body. That's where this is going, Kenton.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what would you rather take? A schmurder rap? Or would you take a misdemeanor, low-level felony, desecration of a body or concealment of a body rap? Which one would you rather take? If you have no criminal record, the latter charges will give you no jail time. So it's insanely smart, the calculation that they made, whether they did it on purpose or it just happened that way. if you are going to be, somebody said neither. I mean, that's the right answer. But if you are going to be an idiot and harbor an underage girl, etc., and something like this happens, that calculation of putting her inside of that trunk, aka frunk, bananas, a stroke of genius. Because I also am in agreement with Nancy. I don't think they're going to get much of an autopsy out of that body. It's too decomposed. It's too decomposed. Anyway, let's jump back into it. But before we do, please hit that like button, support the channel. Let's get those likes up, man. Let's get to 200 likes at least. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think it speaks to the complicated nature of this investigation as it stands. When this story first broke, you saw young girl found in singer's car. You thought, okay, slam dunk arrest, but much more information that we don't currently have. And chief among that is a concrete timeline. We don't even know really when Celeste was last seen alive. We don't know how long she was dead for. And as you say, we don't know how she died. And it's unclear if we're even going to get any clarity on that.
Do you have any idea, Luke Kenton, who the people were going in and out? It was like Grand Central Station at Burke's mansion. And who were the core people actually living there? Any idea on that? Have they been identified and that has just not been released?
They haven't been publicly named. There has been, obviously, as I'm sure you're aware, a lot of online sleuthing going on around this case and trying to piece together the blanks that the LAPD aren't currently filling in for us publicly. Some of these individuals, and I can't speak to the people that may or may not have been living at the home, but there was a group that David was often seen with on social media. One close friend in particular that appeared to be involved in his music team in some capacity.
Okay.
All right, real quick. All right, somebody asked if her body was dismembered. I think at this point, it's not clear, and it was probably misstated, and her body was probably not dismembered. I think her body was in such a state of decay that they assumed that it was dismembered because it was in a state of decay. But her body, nobody has definitively come out to say that the body was dismembered. So I think that at this point, I think I'm going to say it wasn't dismembered. It was just decayed. You understand? This body is in this frunk, and Teslas seal up very, very good. Like they have these filters and all this stuff, like you in a spaceship or whatever. You have this body that's sitting in this California heat for months. I mean, this is just ripe for decay. Especially if some way, somehow, maggots and other animals that specialize in decomposition find their way into and on that body. And they start hatching and start eating and they start decomposing and start doing what Mother Nature programmed to do. They're a very important part of our life cycle, right? You learn that in earth science when you was in grade school. Bring it back to the forefront of your mind as we speak. If those things all happen, which is most likely that they did, you're going to have a body that's going to be almost unrecognizable. And here's another thing that you have to consider when it comes to the toxicology. After a while, these chemicals break down. Many of these chemicals, base components, are already found in the body. So once they break down into their base components, if sometimes they break down and totally disappear, but the ones that break down into base components, even when it comes to drugs, it may be a drug when it's in its full chemical composition, but when it starts breaking down to its base component, what is it breaking down into? Carbon, oxygen, water. It's impossible to tell that it was the drug that it was in your system once it's broken down, or it's just totally just disappears. So after a few months of decaying, good luck trying to figure out whether that person died from an overdose or whatever. Good luck trying to figure out if that person died from anything for that matter. Let's keep going.
So basically what you're telling me is there's a lot of people in and out and nobody can confirm it. Okay, Luke Kenton, I understand where you're coming from, but Steve Fisher, if a cop got up on the stand and tried to sell me that bill of goods, okay, I would have him held in contempt of court because you have painstakingly gone up and down the streets surrounding David Burke's home and you have amassed video. Ring, doorbell cam, security cam, you name it cam. And you can see who is going in and out of the home. And forget getting it up and down the street. That mansion, let's see that shot control room that we got from our friend Harvey Levin over at TMZ. The mansion is covered in security cams. So we know who goes in and stays overnight on a daily basis. It's not rocket science, Fisher, to figure out who's living there. All you have to do is ping their phone and see, is it there night after night after night? I mean...
All right, guys, real quick, you see me yawning a lot. I do apologize. It is a little bit rude, especially from a YouTube presenter, but my day started, like I actually reported to work at 6 a.m. today, and of course I was up at 4:30 a.m., and now it is 11:56 p.m. Eastern time. In 4 minutes, it'll be midnight. So it's been a very long day, and then I was very busy today. Very, very, very busy. So I do apologize. I might actually have to make this a part 1 and a part 2. We're not going to stop now. We're going to stop at some point because I don't think I'll be able to make it through 51 minutes of Nancy Grace, especially since I have to make it transformative and yap my gums. And understand this one last point before we jump back into this. YouTubers have to make this content transformative. Like I have to stop and add my commentary. Otherwise, it's just basically theft. You're basically just stealing somebody else's creative content. And that's not something I want to do because I don't want it to happen to me. So with my commentary, we'll probably be here for like 3 hours and I don't have the energy for it. So let's keep going. But eventually we're going to stop and we'll continue this tomorrow with part 2 of reacting to Nancy Grace's interview. Let's keep going.
Do I have to connect the dots here?
No, it's like you said, it's not hard to do. In fact, they put it on their own social media. There's constantly, photos in the house. There's a group of 4 or 5 of them that are always there, and they're kind of David's, groupies or whatever. They work with them, but they're always around. And like you said, there's surveillance, and in fact, I'm have a meeting this afternoon with another homeowner that's back in town, and hopefully getting important surveillance from very close to the house that might shed more light on that. And I'll tell you, one of the people actually left their car there for 2 months while this was all going on. So these are people that were definitely using the house kind of as a home base, at least.
You know what, Fisher? Let's just cut it. Let's just cut through it. All I need is one witness. One witness to crack. One of Burke's insiders to tell the truth about the night Celeste died.
I don't think it's going to happen because it's a possibility they would be implicating themselves. And number 2, because it's a possibility D4VD wasn't there. But number 2, they all are probably going to get paid off. And if those talks haven't already happened, then those talks will happen very, very, very soon. But I'm pretty sure those talks have happened. Whether D4VD did it or somebody else did it, everybody's going to be paid off. Promise you. Promise you. Nobody's talking. Nobody's cracking.
Right. Otherwise, no one is going to be held responsible. That's the way it's heading right now. Things could change. When you say a core group, what does that mean? Are you referring to the 2 to 4 people we think live there with Burke?
Yeah, or at least we're staying there often. They might have had their own residences too, but they had belongings there. The nightstands were being used and whatnot, and there was a couple mail.
Hold it. Stop everything. I like that. Hold on. You're right. You're right, Fisher. You can have your own, under the law we call it domicile, your own residence.
Right.
But if you basically shack up or live somewhere else. That's what I'm getting at. Yes, now I understand Luke Kenton's hesitance, because you don't have to formally live there to be living there. Like, that doesn't have to be where you get your mail or what you put on your tax forms, if you file tax forms. But if you're even conveniently living there, that's who I'm talking about. Back to Steve Fisher. Steve, I want to get to the nightstand. I hate to rush you, but
this picture always like freaks me out because it really like shows her immaturity, like the round face. This is the face of a child. You know, this is how nature designed us so that we could look at somebody young like her and say, oh, she's cute, and look at them like a little puppy dog. You look at her, she looks like she's every bit sub 13 years old. I mean, how could David look at this young woman and say, yeah, this is allegedly my lover, or somebody who's so close to me that I will allow them to run away from home and be with me, is beyond me. And so I hope that whatever the conclusion of this case is, because we don't know what's going to happen with the 187 case, the Schmurder case. We don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope that in all of the noise and the controversy and the salaciousness and the celebrity and all the stuff that distracts us from her, from this young woman, from Celeste, from Justice for Celeste, I hope that if it turns out that they don't charge David, or even if they do charge David, that they never forget that we got two cases here. One is the untimely demise of Celest Rivas Hernandez, and the other one is the possible alleged sexual abuse of her. I hope that we don't forget that. Even if you don't get him on the Schmurder, you should be doing a comprehensive investigation that will allow you to at least present to a grand jury the inappropriate and unsanctioned relationship that he had with this extremely young female girl. We can't forget that, ladies and gentlemen. We can't forget. Big shout out to I'm Not Bro with a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let's keep going.
I've got X number of minutes to get this information out. Nightstands, all right? Very important. Did you find paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia, pill bottles, any evidence of someone sleeping in the home in the nightstands? Because, you know, when you go to a hotel and you're only going to be there one night, does everybody actually unpack their bags and all their stuff and put it in the nightstand? Is there evidence someone has been there more than one night? Why do I care? I care because I'm going to find out who owned these pill bottles full of oxy. I'm talking oxy, fentanyl, opiates that could kill a little girl.
Yeah.
That's who I'm talking about, Steve Fisher. And once I can identify these people that were living there, whether officially or unofficially, then I have a witness list. See where I'm going, Steve?
Yep, I do. Yes, they were. So
I got to get that witness.
The nightstands were being used. There's no doubt, and you can tell that. You know, there. You know, in the master bedroom there was female products, and the bathroom was completely filled with things where it wasn't just an overnight type of thing. It was like a living situation, and they also had, you know, like gaming stations set up and whatnot in the rooms for different people.
Okay, gaming stations don't mean anything to me because D4VD could be using those gaming stations. He's online playing games constantly, so he could just wander from room to room. I need evidence that other people were living there because I want to try to connect them to these pill bottles if that is in fact the COD on Celeste. Wait a minute. Again, that's not going to convince a jury.
Now, this is when I agree with SF where I'm not going to give out that information. Like if Nancy was to go out there and find these witnesses on her own, go for it. But due to the sensitive nature of this murder investigation, I would not give out that information to now have the media going, creating a firestorm around these people. Everybody's going to want to interview them. Everybody's going to be harassing them, the whole nine. It can and probably would complicate the criminal investigation. That's the only thing that I would agree upon not sharing at this point. There's so much things that he can share, he may be aware of, that he's not sharing. This is one of those things I agree with. By the way, we got 315 people watching this live stream right now. Can you please hit that like button, support the channel so we can get into that algorithm? Let's keep going.
Steve Fisher, hate to put you on the hot spot, but when you say female products, what are you talking about? Are you afraid to say tampon on the air? Over 50% of the population, we're women. We know what they are. No. Don't be afraid, little boy. What were the female products and how much were...
She is so disrespectful. She said, don't be afraid, little boy. She is sunning him right now. Why is she doing that to this guy?
Were there to indicate somebody was...
See, this is what happened when you look like Forrest Gump, man. You get treated like a little boy by Nancy Grace, man. You're a grown man. And she said, don't be afraid, little boy. You ain't even say, yo, Nancy, don't talk to me like that, woman. Don't you talk.
Does that make sense?
Oh my God.
Let's keep going.
Actually living there. This is important.
There was feminine hygiene products for sure, but there's also a ton of makeup, and makeup bags and hair product that is female based. But there was feminine hygiene products for sure, and there was, I think, like 6 or 7 separate containers of them. So it wasn't just like an overnight type of thing. There was,
because Steve, the reason I'm parsing products here is because it could be argued that D4VD, David Anthony Burke, uses makeup in his videos. So I need something I know he's not going to use, like a big box of 40 to 60 tampons. That's what
I don't know, Nancy. The way that boy D4VD carried himself, the way he looked, he might actually use those tampons, but that's a different conversation. Let's keep going.
I'm talking about. And I don't care if the owner of these pill bottles was a woman, a man, I don't care. I just need to get names, which you can get off pill bottles. Okay, I want to talk about the potential COD and what is the holdup. Joining me is Joanna Nieves. She is a veteran criminal defense attorney, founder of the Nieves Law Firm, and she's joining us out of California. Joanna, thank you for being with us. This is, it's like somewhere up in the atmosphere, the lack of a COD, cause of death, just fell in the defense lap.
Yeah.
And now they have an avenue, a convincing avenue of defense. I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's false. But when you have a young girl dead in the trunk and dismembered, which is a whole nother issue, that's not accidental.
Now, this is the thing. Once again, Nancy's saying dismembered. That has not been proven. It has not been proven that Celest Rivas Hernandez was dismembered. That is an internet rumor. Internet rumor. We have never gotten confirmation from law enforcement or the autopsy that says that she was dismembered. It matters to me, guys, because if she was dismembered, and I'm not saying that she's not dismembered or that she won't be determined to have been dismembered. I'm just saying, unless Nancy has information that we don't have, nothing is verified she's dismembered, because if she's dismembered, we're dealing with a savage, brutal ending. Like you can't say it was accidental and then you tried to dismember her. That's just too much. It's too much. Somebody had to take a life. I mean, it's possible. But to me, somebody had to take a life if they're going to go that far to dismember her. So I think it's more safer to say, oh, it's accidental if all you did was put her in a trunk and she just decomposed and it looks like she was dismembered. I think it's harder to say, oh, it was an accidental death and then you chopped her up with a hacksaw and then put her in the trunk. Yeah. Nah, not feeling it. Let's keep going.
We don't have a COD. We have all these pill bottles lying around. I can see where the defense is headed. What would you do with that, Joanna?
I would say the same thing I've been saying the entire time, is that we need evidence that an actual crime of murder was committed. And the cause of death is what would help us establish that, because, you know, what we're dealing with is so many scenarios that could have happened. And I actually have said this for months now or weeks now, that this could have been an accidental overdose. It could have been somebody that found the body or got nervous and panicked about what happened and made the bad judgment call of concealing the body, but not necessarily committing a murder. So I think that what we're hearing is that there are still things that are coming to the surface that would actually help the defense defend maybe even a crime that never even occurred.
Okay, so I'm taking that roundabout discourse to mean that you, as a defense attorney, if you were handling this case, would argue that obviously Celeste must have died by accident of an overdose, unless somebody's going to claim she committed suicide, which is highly unlikely, and that someone panicked, and instead of calling 911 or trying to revive her, they went, hey, it'd be a great idea to chop up her body and put her in a trunk. Is that your defense? Just a simple yes,
I
no.
I definitely think that that's possible.
Okay. Dr. Bethany Marshall is joining us, renowned.
All right, we got to stop it here. We got to stop it here, but we will come back and do a part 2 tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm off. So we'll finish this tomorrow. We have to. My body is like shutting down. And one thing I don't want to do is not give you the best of me. All right. You got to have, if once I log on here, I got to be willing to give you everything I got. And if I can't give you everything I got, then I shouldn't be on here. Now, I think we got a lot of good information so far, but I think there's a whole lot more of good information for us to get from this reaction. And we're going to react to it in less than 24 hours. So we'll be back here sometime in the afternoon and we'll do a part 2 and we'll finish this one out. All right. Because there's so much that Nancy's hitting us with. I don't even know where to skip to. I don't know where to skip to, because if I skip something, we might miss something that's really good. That's how good Nancy Grace is. So I want to react to the whole thing, and so we'll do that tomorrow. Guys, we do have a Patreon. Consider joining the Patreon. Patreon is amazing. The good thing about the Patreon is that we don't get hit as hard as one gets hit if you're using YouTube, in terms of YouTube taking their cut, right? So we have a 99 cents membership. The membership starts at 99 cents. We would love to see you become members of True Crime Strategic, but understand that 30% of that is going to YouTube. So when I say I have a 99 cents subscription, I'm only getting 70 cents. That's it. I'm getting 70 cents. So I have a 70-cent membership after YouTube gets their cut. Then after you do taxes, we're talking about 60 cents, maybe even 50 cents. When you go over to Patreon, which we have a very vibrant Patreon with almost 500 videos on it, 500 exclusive videos, most of them are exclusive. 500, almost. Patreon is much more generous to creators. Your support, like 90% of it comes to me. And that's big, that's huge, and that matters, because we need the help, because YouTube constantly demonetizes us here on this platform. So if you want exclusive content, we drop content on there on the regular that never comes on YouTube. So if you're on that Patreon, you're going to see things that YouTube will never see. The YouTube membership will not see. We also have a membership, of course, and we'll do live shows and we drop content on the membership all the time as well. But you come on that Patreon, you are going to get exclusive content, and it's worth it. And it's necessary for creators like myself, because unfortunately, YouTube does not care about a creator unless you have 300,000 subscribers and you're pulling in millions and millions of views every single month. If you're not that, you're treated like a stepchild. Yes, you are. And guess what I am right now? I'm a 100,000 subscriber stepchild. So if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a member, and also consider becoming a member of the Patreon as well. We love you guys immensely. We'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.